Good morning to you all, Chris England here, and we're going to go ahead and do the brand new Legendary banner. So this banner was just released just last night as a new Legendary hero enters the fray. And we have Sparkles, the Fated Saint.
かつての私は記憶を失い、
We have Deirdre, who has been on a 5-year hiatus since receiving her original form back in 2017, just about. So she is a legendary Earth hero, so copycatting both her son and daughter. She also has the pair up and the dual effects, as well as just the bonuses that she gives for being Earth. I will note there are sparkles, many sparkles in her kit. Very interesting flower design on her shoulder, the shoulder pieces for her cape. So we have her as a blue tome infantry. She is illustrated this time around by Kiyotaka Haimura, and she is voiced by Kikuko Inoue, the eternal 17-year-old plus however many days. So Miss Inoue has done many roles for anime, both recent and in my day. So some of in my memory, she did Lust from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and Beyond. The only one that she didn't voice was the 2003 make. She did Akira Yoshi, the main character's older sister, in Idiot and Test and Summon Beast. I didn't personally watch My Little Pony when I was a teen slash a kid slash whenever it was, but she did Celestia. She did Ryoki from Senran Kagura. Probably one of my more favorites, she did Macrophage from Cells at Work. She did the caster Sherazade from Fate Grand Order. She does both versions of Mercury from Dragalia Lost, and probably one of the more differing roles, she did Alcina Demetrescu from Resident Evil Village. So I'd like to take a moment to just look at all of the sparkles that her kit includes, including the ones in her hair. So one thing that I will note is that I consider this to be Deirdre's only alt. I do not consider the duo with Sigurd as the Masquerade to be considered an actual alt for her. And that is because the game registers it as Sigurd, so it enters as Sigurd. If it was had Deirdre's name, it would be considered Deirdre. The other thing is, part of that is that you can't switch between units, so you can't have Deirdre ride the horse while Sigurd's on foot. So it's fully locked to Sigurd, in my opinion. I consider it a half point, so she actually has 2.5 versions in Fae.
運命に翻弄されていました。
As for her kit, we do have some especially good skills. We have Stillwater, which so far has only been on seasonals. We also have Attack Res Menace, a brand new Attack Res Tempo. So it's during combat, the foe gets Attack Res -3, and any effects that would either increase the cooldown count for a foe's attacks or decrease her cooldown count from attacks would be nullified. So what this is it's trying to combo off with her special, which is the Circlet of Balance at a cooldown of 2. This is going to be I believe Iceberg evolution, where it deals only 40% of her resistance in additional damage, but she also has a very conditional Miracle. The only way that she can get Miracle is if two conditions are fulfilled. One is if she or her foe has their special as ready, or has activated either before or during the current combat. So if the if she has it ready to go at the beginning. Or if either she or foe has activated their special during the actual combat. And then the other condition to it is that she needs to either initiate combat or be facing a foe that has a range equal to 2. So this does actually allow her to deal with distant counter units, especially the ones that have a lot of power behind them but not a lot of speed. However, I would say that the conditions in and of themselves are a lot harder to get for the actual miracle effect. This does, however, combine very well with Ymir, since she does offer a higher level miracle as opposed to having just a very specific one. And then we have her weapon, the Spirit Forest Writ. Of course, this continues the Divine Naga's dragon effectiveness, and we also get a slaying effect. Then her specific effect. If she's within 3 spaces of an ally, during combat, her foe gets attack res -6, she gets a guaranteed follow-up, and she ignores any adaptive damage effects, so she's doing all her work against dragons. Then, at the start of battle, if her resistance is higher than the foe's resistance, during that battle, the foe gets an additional attack res debuff equal to the difference, 80% of the difference between res stats at the start of combat, with a maximum of 12. So if there is at the start of combat, if there is a difference of 10 points in total, so 10-point difference between her resistance and the foe's resistance, they're going to get a debuff of 8 points to each stat in addition, which would put it up to -17 with all the stats included. A very powerful skill in and of it, what it is. I do think that this actually has more value than her miracle skill, but it is always nice to see more miracles in general.
これで 光よどうか
As for the other 11 heroes, we have the legendary Cipher, female company, we have Triandra, Thor, we have Ash, we have Inoue, we have Galzus, Gustav, and legendary. So it's been a very odd case where I actually have none of a specific color. While technically red in this case is actually one of the weakest sets, it is one of those ones where I might actually try and at least pull one of the heroes, since I don't actually have either. While Galzus and Hugh are both in the normal pool, I have not yet pulled either of them. And then the same thing goes for legendary Seliph. In terms of the actual colorings, we have the total that we have with Deirdre. We have legendary Myrrh, who offers both a defense res unity as well as a anti-warp skill. We also have for that one the other miracle unit, legendary Faye, where she actually revives herself with full HP when she triggers it. Now, this one is a much closer miracle. So for green for me, I actually might only really want a Gustav to get that attack smoke 4 fodder. Triandra, I do actually have merges for, as well as Thor, but they're not as important as Deirdre and Faye are my top ones. Colorless in and of itself is not a bad pull set for this one. We do have legendary female Kamui, or legendary female Korin. We have Ashe, and we have Fallen Rhea. Fallen Rhea definitely has good stats with her near save. We have Ashe offering attack defense unity and then a pseudo warp effect. And then we have Corrin, lowest end anyways, but she is still a good unit. We also have, in terms of actual value, I would place blue at the top. I'd tie green and colorless together. As well, they both have one unit from the Fallen normal pool. The colorless has only one mythic and one legendary, and then the green has two mythics. Probably, as much as I hate to say it, the lowest end is red on this one. We have Seliph. We go back to Hugh, who's very reliant on dragon flowers, and then we have Galzus, whose kit is good, but it still leaves more to the imagination. So once again, the continuation of the banner is 40 summons, but with a Fey Pass, you get a Spark, guaranteed whichever one you want, and the Celestial Stone. In terms of Deirdre's kit, what I would be very interested in seeing is how she deals with adding in Distant Ward to her kit, because the Distant Ward, while it would replace her stat buffs for attack and resistance, it certainly would change it, making it her a much harder unit to face against dragons. But the downside of that is that her miracle will never activate, since dragons are still range 1, not range 2. In terms of teaming, you definitely want to give her as much resistance as possible to buff her up. You want to also have ways to she already has ways in her kit to keep her from losing special costs, but maybe adding something like a quicken pulse to the start to just have her be able to activate it on start. But that is what I personally think of this skill. So thank you very much for listening.